So on my journey from singer to coach, I've discovered that many people have not tapped into the many voices that they have. When we grow up, we're using this voice, we get into a kind of, a mode of operation. It's a bit like how when we walk. When we walk, we get into this kind of mode of how we walk, and depending on the environment, depending on if the environment affects us in a particular way, we can change our stance or we change our walk. And I think that speaking or using your voice or singing has the same principles. We often go into one mode of operation when we're using our voice. There are many voices. Everybody has access to many different types of voices using this voice, one voice. A lot of people think that, I've only got one voice. Well, no, I'm here to say to you, good news, you have many voices in there. This is all down to the different ways we can combine our actuator, our breathing, our resonators, these mouth acoustics or these cavities in our body, the vibrators, our vocal folds, and our articulators. These 4 areas give us so many different ways of using our voice. But what happens through life, we get caught up in one mode. And if you're in one type of mode, the chances are you're going to have almost like a similar type of outcome. So if you've got let's say, for example, a monotonal voice, you're typically going to have audiences reacting to your voice because it's monotonal. It's one way, it's linear, and it's going to be like this, and you're talking in one tone, and maybe it's just everything in equidistance of each other. You're going to bore people to tears. But if you tapped into your voice, let's say, for example, just changing the undulation or changing the pitch up and down, maybe you'll attract more than just what the monotonal sound does. And this is all residing on the time and pitch axis. This resides on what we do on the pitch up and down, as well as duration with tempo, timing, rhythm, silence, and sound. And if you can tap into those skills, you can develop different outcomes using your voice in a variety of ways. But if we stay in one mode, we're not going to get different results if we stay in one mode. I'm not going to go and talk to a bunch of unenthusiastic people, a group of unenthusiastic people. I'm not going to approach them monotonally. Why? Because you'll be just joining them. You have to bring a different energy to that room. And maybe it might be changing your tempo, your rhythm, and allowing the space for them to reflect. It may be bringing the dynamics louder, or maybe even softer, or a bit of both. It may be just using your pitch up and down. Whatever it is, I think all of these things are up for grabs in developing new ways to bring our old messages into a new space. And once we approach our voice musically, people start to interact as listeners, as keen listeners, rather than trusting just the text. And so this space here, building your confidence using your voice, is for people that want to join in this conversation to find new ways of developing your voice. Ahmad, how are you? I hope you are good.